The cry for help the night was cold and heavy. Rain fell like knives on the metal streets of the alien marketplace. Neon lights flickered above broken stalls, and the smell of smoke mixed with wet dust. In the corner of the dark alley, an alien, mother named Lyra, held her weak child close to her chest. Her child, a boy with pale skin and faint glowing veins, coughed weakly. His little chest rose and fell too fast. Each breath sounded like a struggle against death. His glow was fading, dimmer than before, and every alien in the street could see it. "Please," Lyra begged. Her voice cracked as she shouted at the shops. "Please, someone help me. My son needs medicine. He will die without it." But the shopkeepers turned their faces away. One closed his door loudly. Another laughed under his breath. The crowd that passed looked once, then looked away, like they did not care. One alien guard sneered, "Go home, widow. No one wastes medicine on worthless blood." Her heart sank deeper. She fell to her knees, clutching her child, her tears mixing with the rain. The boy's small fingers held her clothes weakly, but even that grip was slipping. She screamed louder now, her voice breaking through the storm. "He is just a child. He has done nothing wrong. Please." No one answered. The market grew quieter as if her cries made people uncomfortable. Doors closed, lights went dark, and the rain kept falling. It was as if the whole world decided to watch her pain but not share it. Her boy coughed again, harder this time, and his glow almost went out. She pressed her forehead against his, whispering, "Stay with me, my son. Please, stay with me." The storm raged around her, but inside her chest was a greater storm. Fear. Fear that tonight would be his last night. Fear that no one would care. When his light went out, then in the distance a sound of footsteps. Slow, heavy, different. Lyra looked up through her tears. A figure was walking toward her. Not an alien, not one of her own kind. The figure looked strange in this place. A human. He wore a worn-out jacket, his boots splashing in the puddles. His face was tired, but his eyes were sharp, burning, with something the crowd did not have. "Determination," the aliens whispered. "A human? Here? What is he doing in the lower market? He'll be dead by morning." The human stopped near Lyra. He bent down slightly, looking at the boy in her arms. For a long moment he said nothing. He only listened to the child's weak breathing, watched the fading glow on his skin. Then he spoke, his voice low but strong. "Why is no one helping?" The crowd laughed. One alien called out, "Because she is nothing. That child is nothing." The human's eyes narrowed. He stood straight and faced them. "A child is never nothing." The laughter died a little. Some turned away, but others stayed, curious. The human looked back at Lyra. "What does he need?" She shook her head, unsure if she should trust him. "Medicine, forbidden medicine. I cannot buy it. No one will give it. He will not live until sunrise." The human thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "I'll get it." Lyra's eyes widened. "No, you don't understand. The medicine is illegal. Dangerous men control it. If you try, I'll get it," he repeated, his tone calm but final. She stared at him, confused. Why would a stranger, and a human stranger at that, care about her son? Her own people had turned away. And yet here was someone who owed her nothing, ready to risk something for her child. Before she could say more, the human stepped back into the storm, vanishing into the neon-lit shadows of the marketplace. The crowd murmured. Some laughed again, shaking their heads. "He is foolish. He will never return." But Lyra held her son tighter, her heart torn between fear and hope. The boy coughed again, weaker than ever, his glow almost gone. She whispered into his ear, maybe someone still cares." The rain kept falling, harder and harder, as if the heavens themselves watched the struggle of one small child, one desperate mother, and one human who dared to stand against the cruelty of the world. And in the shadows, the danger waited. The rain did not stop. The marketplace was still alive with whispers, but the human stranger had already disappeared into the storm. Lyra sat on the cold ground holding her dying son. She wanted to believe his words, but hope was dangerous. Hope had betrayed her before. The child's breath rattled again. His glow flickered like a dying flame. Lyra pressed her hand against his chest as if her touch alone could hold him in this world. Her heart trembled. She feared she would hear the last breath before dawn. Then, footsteps again. Strong. Steady. The human had returned. The crowd turned their heads. Some expected him to crawl back beaten, maybe even bleeding. But no. He walked with purpose. His jacket was wetter, his face darker from the storm, but his eyes, those eyes still burned. He knelt in front of Lyra again, close to her son. He is weaker, he said softly, almost to himself. Lyra's lips shook. I told you it is too dangerous. No one will help. You should not. But he lifted his hand slightly, stopping her words. His gaze was calm, firm, almost unshakable. Listen, I am not here to watch a child die. I have seen too much death already. Lyra's throat tightened. She wanted to ask, why? Why are you doing this? But the words would not leave her mouth. The alien crowd gathered closer now. Their eyes glowed faintly in the rain, curious but cruel. One alien merchant sneered. Human, go back to your kind. This is not your fight. That boy's life is worth nothing. The human stood slowly, facing the crowd. His voice rose louder than the storm. Every life is worth something, especially a child's. A silence spread. The storm still hissed, but for a moment, even the merchants did not speak. Lyra felt her heart stir. She had begged until her voice broke. No one listened. But this human, he had said only a few words, and the crowd had fallen quiet. The silence did not last long. The alien guard from before stepped forward. His armor reflected the neon lights, and his mouth curled in a cruel smile. You think you can save her? You think you can fight us? You are fragile, weak. Look at you. The human did not move back. Strength is not in muscle. Strength is in choice. The guard's smile faded. His hand hovered near his weapon, but he did not draw it. Something in the human's eyes made him hesitate. The human turned back to Lyra. His tone softened. Tell me where to find the medicine. Her breath caught. She shook her head quickly. No. If you go there, they will kill you. The medicine is locked in the black market. Only criminals touch it. They will smell your human blood the moment you step in. He looked down at the boy, then back at her. If I don't go, he dies. She wanted to scream at him, to push him away, to tell him that no one could win against those men. But the words died in her throat again. His eyes left no space for doubt. Why? She finally whispered. Her voice was weak, broken. Why would you risk your life for us? We are not your people. My son is not your son. The human knelt closer, his voice low so only she could hear. Because once someone I loved needed medicine, and no one came. Her heart froze. Pain flickered in his eyes, pain so deep she could almost feel it. Before she could speak again, he stood and faced the storm. Stay alive until I return. Walked into the night, his figure swallowed by neon shadows and rain. The crowd whispered again. Some laughed, shaking their heads. Others frowned, uncertain. He will never return. He will die before sunrise. Humans are fools. But Lyra did not hear them. She held her child tighter. Her tears mixed with the rain, but her heart was not the same. Something had changed. For the first time in many nights, hope flickered inside her chest. Small, fragile, but real. Her boy stirred faintly, opening his glowing eyes just a little. His lips trembled, and in a weak voice he whispered, Mama. She kissed his forehead quickly. Rest, my child. Rest. Someone is fighting for you. The rain roared, the storm deepened, and in the distance, the human walked straight toward danger. He had no weapon, no allies, No promise of survival, but he had made a choice. And sometimes, one human choice could shake an entire world. The storm followed him, but the human did not slow down. David, that was his name, walked through the maze of alleys until the lights changed. The normal stalls ended and the real danger began. This was the black market. The air here was thick with smoke, fire, and strange smells. Metal signs burned red and purple, showing symbols that warned outsiders to stay away. Aliens with hard faces stood near every corner, their eyes sharp, their hands never far from their weapons. David pulled his jacket tighter but did not hide his face. Hiding was weakness here. If they saw fear, they would eat him alive. He entered a wide hall filled with shadows and whispers. Inside, dozens of aliens traded weapons, stolen goods, and poisons. The sound of coins and arguments echoed. One merchant, with green scales, hissed at him. "Human? Here?" The others turned, their glowing eyes focusing on him. For a moment, the hall was silent. Then laughter exploded. "He's lost. He will not leave alive. Maybe his bones will sell, for something." David did not react. He kept walking, slow but steady, until he reached the largest stall at the center. A heavy table filled with vials, powders, and strange machines stood before him. Behind it, a tall alien with golden tattoos on his skin leaned back, smiling with sharp teeth. This was the dealer, the one who owned the forbidden medicine. Well, the dealer said, his voice smooth but dangerous. "A human dares to step into my hall. Do you know where you are?" David's voice was calm. "I know what I came for." The dealer raised one brow. "And what is that?" David looked at the glowing glass vial on the table. Inside was a thick liquid that shimmered like liquid fire. He pointed. "That medicine, for the fever sickness." The laughter returned, louder this time. The aliens around him slapped tables and shouted. "That cure is not for him. It is not for anyone." The dealer leaned forward, his golden tattoos glowing faintly in the dark. "Do you know what you ask for? This medicine is banned, worth more than your life. It saves few, but it kills balance. It is not for beggars or strangers." David did not move back. "How much?" The dealer tilted his head, amused. "You want to buy? With what, human? You have no credits, no power, no friends here." David's hand went into his jacket. He pulled out a small silver token, old and worn, with strange marks on it. "This," the dealer's eyes narrowed. He took the token in his long fingers, studying it under the neon light. The laughter died again. The crowd leaned closer. "This," the dealer said slowly, "is not from this world." David's face did not change. "It is worth enough." The dealer chuckled, then his chuckle grew into a cruel laugh. "Enough? Maybe. But you forget something." The hall went silent again. "You are human," the dealer said, his smile fading. "Here, your life is cheaper than dust. Even if I sell you this vial, who will protect you when the others decide to take it?" The crowd shifted. Alien eyes glowed brighter, and David felt the heat of their hunger. Still, he did not show fear. His hand rested on the table. Then maybe they should try. The dealer stared at him for a long time. The tension grew so thick that even the rain outside seemed to stop. Then suddenly the dealer threw back his head and laughed. "Brave fool, I like you." He pushed the vial forward. "Take it, but remember, once you leave this hall, you will not walk far. They will come for you, and I will not save you." David took the vial carefully, holding it close to his chest. The liquid inside glowed faintly, casting light across his wet jacket. The crowd moved. Whispers turned into growls. "Take it from him. He cannot escape. Kill him and share the cure." David backed away slowly, never turning his back to them. His boots splashed in the puddles of the hall as he reached the door. The dealer's voice followed him. "Run, human. Run while you can. The medicine is forbidden, and so, now, are you." David stepped into the storm again, the vial hidden in his hand. The sound of footsteps behind him grew louder. Shadows followed. The chase had begun. The rain hit harder, washing the neon streets in silver light. David pushed forward, clutching, the glowing vial close to his chest. The medicine was small, fragile, but heavier than any weapon he had ever carried. Behind him, the black market hall roared to life. Voices shouted, boots thundered, the hunters were coming. David's breath came quick, but his steps never slowed. He turned into a narrow alley, the puddles splashing under his feet. Shadows stretched, along the walls, shadows that moved. The first alien leapt from the side, sharp claws reaching for him. David ducked low, his shoulder slamming into the alien's chest. The attacker hit the wet ground hard, but another figure appeared ahead. Stop. Him! A voice roared. David spun, slipping into another street. His jacket tore as claws scraped across his back. He stumbled, almost dropping the vial, but his grip tightened. Don't break, he told himself. The streets twisted like a maze. Neon signs flickered, pointing to shops and bars, but all David saw were exits and traps. Every corner could mean death. Every step echoed with the sound of his pursuers. From above, figures climbed the metal walls, crawling like spiders. Their eyes glowed in the rain. David stopped for a moment, scanning. He could not outrun them forever. He needed a way through, a path they did not expect. He spotted a narrow stairway between two buildings. Without thinking, he rushed up. His boots slipped on the wet steps, but he climbed fast, his lungs burning. The rooftop stretched wide, shining with rainwater and humming with electric wires. From here, he could see the whole lower city, the endless lights, the rising smoke, the hungry crowd below. But he had no time to stare. The hunters climbed after him. Their claws scraped metal. Their voices hissed in the storm. Give it back. Human! You cannot keep it. That cure is not for you. David ran across the slick rooftop. The rain made it dangerous, but he did not care. Every second mattered. The child's face flashed in his mind, the weak glow in his veins, the shallow breaths. He had no choice but to run faster. Suddenly, one hunter landed in front of him, blocking the way. Tall, armored, with a blade in his hand. The alien grinned, certain of victory. David's heart pounded, but his face stayed calm. He glanced at the electric wires near the edge. In one motion, he kicked a loose pipe, sending it crashing into the wires. Sparks exploded. The alien stumbled back, blinded by the sudden light. David pushed past, his shoulder smashing into the hunter, and kept running. The vial glowed faintly under his jacket, as if reminding him, do not fail. He reached the edge of the rooftop. The next building was several feet away. The gap was wide. The drop below was death. Behind him, more hunters crawled onto the roof. Their claws clicked against the metal. David looked once at the gap, then once at the vial. He had no choice. He ran and jumped. For a moment, the world slowed. His body flew through the rain, the glow of the city beneath him. His hand clutched the vial like it was life itself. Then his boots hit the edge of the next roof. He slipped but grabbed a pipe, pulling himself up. He landed hard, coughing but alive. The hunters stopped at the other edge, hissing in anger. Some tried to leap, but most did not risk it. David kept moving, vanishing into another stairwell. Down through the dripping tunnels and empty storage rooms. His lungs burned, his body ached, but he never let go of the vial. At last he reached a quiet street, smaller and darker. His steps slowed, but he did not stop. He leaned against a wall, catching his breath. The medicine was still safe. But in the shadows ahead, a figure waited. The golden-tattooed dealer. His smile glowed in the neon light. Behind him, two armored guards stepped forward, their weapons aimed at David. You escaped the crowd, the dealer said, his voice smooth, almost amused. But you cannot escape me. David straightened, holding the vial close. His face was pale from the chase, but his eyes had not dimmed. The dealer stepped closer. Give me the medicine. Walk away with your life, or keep it, and lose everything. The storm thundered above. The rain poured harder. The world seemed to hold its breath. David's hand tightened on the vial. He knew one wrong step could shatter it. He knew his life could end here, but he also knew a child's life waited for him, and in that moment his choice was clear. The storm howled above, but the street below was silent. David stood in the shadows, chest rising and falling from the chase. The vial of medicine glowed faintly in his hand, fragile and precious. Across from him, the golden-tattooed dealer stepped forward. His guards moved like shadows, weapons raised, eyes locked on David. The neon light made their armor shine like polished knives. "Impressive," the dealer said, his voice smooth, almost gentle. "A human outruns my hunters. Few ever return, alive from this market, but you," he smiled with sharp teeth, "you return with my medicine." David said nothing. His grip tightened on the vial. The dealer's smile widened. "Tell me, human, do you even know what you carry? That liquid in your hand is more than cure. It is power, it is war." The rain dripped down David's face. "It's medicine. A child needs it." The dealer laughed softly, shaking his head. "You speak like a fool. Do you not see? If that child lives, the balance shifts. Her kind grows strong. Others grow weak. Civil war will follow. Blood will cover these streets, and all because one human could not walk away." David's jaw clenched. "I don't care about balance. I care about the boy." The dealer's eyes narrowed. "Then you are more dangerous than I thought." One guard stepped closer, weapon humming with deadly light. The dealer raised a hand to stop him. He wanted this conversation to last. He wanted David to understand. "Listen well, human," the dealer said, his tone sharpening. "Every empire is built on rules. Every life has weight, but not all lives are equal. That child, worthless. His people forgotten. If you give him this cure, you invite chaos. Entire clans will rise against each other. Cities will burn." David's voice was steady, even through the storm. "If one child must die for your order, then your order is already broken." The dealer studied him quietly, his golden tattoos glowing brighter. "You speak boldly, perhaps too boldly." The storm cracked with thunder. David stood firm, though the guards' weapons hummed, dangerously close. The vial glowed between his fingers, its light trembling but unbroken. The dealer sighed, almost disappointed. "You remind me of the old warriors, the ones who believed in right and wrong. They all died young." David's eyes burned. "Then maybe I will too. But not tonight." The dealer tilted his head, curious. For a moment, silence filled the street. Only the rain spoke. Then, slowly, the dealer lowered his hand. "Very well," he said softly. "I will not kill you here. Not yet. But know this. Saving that child makes you my enemy. From this moment, every step you take will be watched. Every shadow will hunt you. You have chosen war, human. Do not pretend you are blind." He turned, his cloak dragging against the wet ground. His guards stepped back with him, their weapons lowering but their eyes sharp as blades. The dealer's voice echoed one last time. "Carry your cure, David, but understand, you carry death as well." Then they vanished into the storm, melting into the neon mist. David stood alone, soaked, breathing hard. His muscles ached, his wounds stung, but his grip never loosened. The vial was still safe. He leaned against the wall for a moment, closing his eyes. He could still hear the child's ragged breathing in his memory. He could see the mother's desperate eyes. There was no turning back now. The rain poured heavier, urging him forward. He pushed himself off the wall and started walking. Every step was pain, but every step was purpose. Above him, high on the rooftops, shadows moved again. Hunters. The dealer had spared him, but not for long. David muttered under his breath, almost to himself. "Hold on, kid. I'm coming." The storm swallowed his voice, but his words carried weight. Far away in the broken corner of the market, Lyra still held her child. The boy's glow was almost gone. His breaths were fewer, weaker. She rocked him gently, whispering promises she could not keep. Then, for a moment, she thought she felt something, like hope moving through the storm, carried by a stranger's footsteps. And, somewhere above the neon city, the golden tattooed dealer smiled in the dark. His warning was not a lie. He knew what would come. One human's choice would not just save a life. It would set fire to a world. The last breath. The night grew darker, and the storm grew louder. The streets were almost empty now, but David did not slow. His boots splashed in deep puddles, his breath sharp in the cold air. Every step burned, but he held the glowing vial tight. It was his only weapon. It was his only hope. Far away, in a broken shelter at the edge of the market, Lyra cradled her. Child. His glow was faint now, barely visible under his pale skin. His chest rose only a little with each breath. She counted them, terrified each one could be the last. Stay with me, she whispered, rocking him gently. Please, just a little longer. Someone is coming, someone who promised. Her voice cracked. She remembered broken promises before, friends who turned away, guards who mocked her, merchants who slammed doors in her face. She had no reason to believe this human would return. Yet, part of her heart refused to let go. The boy's fingers twitched weakly, then fell still. His small lips parted, letting out a shallow, rattling breath. Lyra's tears mixed with the rain dripping through the roof. No, she whispered. Her hands shook as she held him closer. No, not yet. Please. Not yet. The storm outside roared like a monster, and inside, silence pressed down on her. It was the silence of death creeping closer. Then, footsteps. The door burst open with a crash. David stumbled inside, soaked, bleeding, but alive. His eyes searched the room, found the child, and locked on him. Move, he said, his voice rough. Lyra blinked, frozen in shock. You came back? I said I would. He knelt quickly, pulling the vial from his jacket. His hand shook, but not from fear, only from exhaustion. The glow of the liquid lit the dark room. Lyra's eyes widened. The medicine. Real. She almost reached for it, but stopped. It's forbidden. If you give it, there's no time. David cut her off. Hold him steady. Lyra obeyed, pressing her son gently into her lap. David broke the seal on the vial, his fingers, careful, precise. One mistake, one spill, and everything was lost. The boy gasped weakly, his chest rising slower now. His glow was almost gone. Please, Lyra whispered, her tears falling onto the boy's face. Please, don't leave me. David tilted the DI vial, letting a single drop fall into the boy's mouth. The liquid shimmered as it touched his lips, glowing brighter for a moment, then vanishing inside. Nothing happened. Lyra's heart broke. She shook her head, sobbing. It's too late. He's already— Oh, wait, David said firmly. His eyes stayed locked on the boy. Wait. The silence stretched. The boy's chest barely moved. The glow under his skin flickered once, then dimmed again. Lyra cried harder, rocking him. No, no, no. David placed a hand on her shoulder. He's fighting. Give him a chance. Seconds felt like hours. The storm outside beat against the walls. The crowd had started to gather again, drawn by the noise. Faces appeared at the doorway. Curious, judgmental, waiting to see a failure. Look at him, one alien sneered. The human wasted his life. Lyra heard them, but she could not look away from her son. She pressed her lips to his forehead, whispering over and over. Stay, please stay. Then, suddenly, the boy gasped. It was small, weak, but real. His chest rose deeper, stronger. The glow under his skin brightened, not dim, but alive. The crowd at the door fell silent, eyes widened, mouths opened in shock. Another breath came. Then another. The glow spread through his veins, faint but growing. His small fingers twitched again, this time gripping his mother's clothes with real strength. Lyra sobbed with joy, holding him tighter. He's alive! He's alive! David exhaled slowly, almost collapsing to the floor. His body hurt everywhere, but inside, relief washed through him like fire. He had made it. He had kept his promise. The boy's eyes fluttered open, weak, glowing, but awake. He looked at his mother, then at David. His lips moved, forming a small word. Mama. Lyra kissed his cheek, tears streaming. Yes, my child. I'm here. You're safe. Then she looked at David. Her voice trembled. You saved him. David shook his head. He saved himself. I only gave him a chance. The crowd outside did not cheer. They did not step forward, but their silence was heavy. They had watched a human do what none of them dared. They had watched hope return where they had given only cruelty. One by one, they slipped back into the storm, whispering to each other. Inside, Lyra rocked her son gently, his glow returning more with every breath. David sat against the wall, exhausted, but unbroken. For tonight the child lived. For tonight hope had won. But in the far distance, on a rooftop lit by lightning, the golden tattooed dealer watched with cold eyes. His smile was gone. His voice carried on the wind, unheard by those below. You chose war, human, and war will come. The human's choice. The storm had not ended, but inside the broken shelter, it was calm for the first time. Lyra held her, son close, his glow brighter with every breath. His weak chest now rose with strength, and though his eyes were tired, they were alive. David sat against the wall, his body heavy with exhaustion, his clothes torn, but his eyes watching. He had carried the medicine through fire and storm. He had kept his promise. For a moment, silence felt like peace. But peace never lasted long in this city. The door creaked open again. This time it was not curious neighbors. It was not whispering onlookers, it was the enemy. Dark figures entered, armed thugs from the black market. Their armor gleamed with rainwater, their weapons glowing faintly. At their center stood a broad alien with scars across his face. His eyes locked on David, burning with rage. There he is, the thug growled. The human thief. Lyra gasped, clutching her son tighter. The boy stirred, his glow flickering in fear. David pushed himself to his feet, pain shooting through his body. He stood tall anyway, placing himself between the thugs and the mother. His voice was calm, steady, even, as his body shook. You're too late, he said. The child lives. The scarred thug sneered. Not for long. The dealer wants the cure back, and your head with it. The crowd outside gathered again, drawn by the noise. They stood in the rain, watching from doorways and windows. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide. Some whispered, he'll be killed, now. He cannot fight them all. He should have left. The thugs moved closer, weapons raised. David's hand twitched, but he had no weapon, only his body, only his choice. He spoke loudly, his voice reaching the crowd outside. They do not come for me. They come for the child, for the mother, for anyone who dares to hope. The words struck the silence. One of the thugs laughed cruelly. Hope? Hope is weak. Power is what rules here. David's eyes narrowed. Power, without mercy, is nothing. The scarred thug raised his weapon. Enough talking. Time to die. The crowd held their breath. No one moved. No one dared to step forward. Lyra closed her eyes, whispering prayers, holding her son close. The weapon hummed, ready to fire. But then, something unexpected. From the crowd, a voice shouted, "Stop!" All eyes turned. An old alien stepped forward, shaking but firm. His voice was thin but loud enough. He risked his life when none of us would. He saved a child when we turned away. If he dies, then we are cowards forever. Another voice rose, younger this time. The human is right. We cannot keep watching, more voices joined. Slowly, step by step, the crowd began to move closer. Not one or two, but dozens. Faces that had hidden in shadow now stood in the rain, watching with new fire in their eyes. The thugs looked around, uncertain. Their sneers faded as the weight of the crowd pressed in. David stood taller, his voice calm but strong. You see? Mercy is not weakness, it is strength. One act can break fear. One choice can change everything. The scarred thug snarled, but he saw the crowd closing in. The numbers were against him now. He spat on the ground, lowering his weapon. This is not over, he growled. The dealer will come, and when he does, none of you will be safe. With a signal, the thugs retreated into the storm, their shadows vanishing down the alleys. The shelter was quiet again. The crowd stood in silence, then slowly began to cheer. Soft at first, then louder, rising against the thunder. Lyra's tears flowed freely. She knelt before David, her voice shaking. You are more than a stranger. You are our savior. David shook his head. No, I only did what was right. Now it's your turn to keep it alive.